Town officials will present the capital improvement plan to Town Council this week. PARCC testing replaces MCAS testing this year for most Barnstable students. And Cape Cod Community College wants to help make filling out financial aid forms easier for families. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, March 30th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mantle. Town officials will present the capital improvement plan to Town Council this week. Town Manager Tom Lynch says this year there are 20 projects being proposed that would be paid for with the general fund.
So there are 20 projects all told under the general fund recommendations, and I'd like to go through a few of them.
Absolutely.
So people get an idea of the types of priorities that we're trying to set. There are 8 proposals under the infrastructure, and that totals over $5 million, and that will cover our public roads maintenance program. It'll cover some new school zone traffic lights that are actually going to be solar powered, try to save a little money that way. All of our guardrails and sidewalks, we put aside about $400,000 for that. And I should say that the Town Council's been just great about supporting particularly the public roads maintenance program with $3.25 million. Over the last several years, it's enabled us to catch up and begin to really get a handle on long-term maintenance of our public roads. And then we're going to do the Bay Street boat ramp. We've done some work on the revetment area on that earlier this year, finished that up. We're going to add private roads asset management reviews to the system that we now have. And with putting aside $55,000 there, we'll go out and survey all those private roads so we can get an idea of which are in the worst shape, how we prioritize those. Our whole road maintenance system is geared on a rating system, and we try to professionally look at where the needs are and what we can tackle next within our budgetary limits. And then we do have under the private roads program, which is new this year, we'll be funding the repaving of 4 roads in town that have long come to the attention of folks. We'll be doing over at Wakeby and Mary Dunn Road, Old Strawberry Hill Road, and High Street in West Barnstable. So that's almost that's about a $730,000 appropriation. And then we also have site work that we want to do at Joshua's Pond. So those are all the infrastructure things we'll be looking at. We have 3 municipal facilities. We'll be finishing up the police improvements, police station improvements that we've been doing over there. We'd like to demolish the portables that are at the Marston's Mills elementary school that's been vacant for some time, and Marston's Mills West, as they call it, and because we're hoping to lease that out, and the folks coming in, if we finalize the lease with them, don't want those there. They're old, they're deteriorated, don't need that space. And then there's a renovation to our town hall heating system. Both with the town hall heating system and under the schools, there are boiler replacement upgrades. Those are projects where we hope to then realize savings because we have antiquated and we're spending a lot of money on heat and electricity here. So any way that we can bring those costs down. For instance, under the schools, we were successful through David Anthony and others that put together a grant through the Department of Energy Resources. We're successful in getting a $525,000 grant for a cogeneration system. We're going to put under the schools $50,000 in there. When that system is put in, we expect to realize over $43,000 in savings for heat and electricity.
Lynch, along with Finance Director Mark Milne, will present the capital improvement plan to Town Council this week. That meeting will be held this Thursday at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. If you are a parent of a Barnstable student, you may have been hearing a lot about PARCC testing. Superintendent of Schools Dr. Mary Schakowsky says this year most Barnstable students will be taking PARCC instead of MCAS.
As you know, the Common Core standards came about with looking at states across the country and standards in the science, math, English, and social studies areas. And these Common Core standards, we adopted them as a state of Massachusetts. And so they really do not align with the current MCAS test. And so the PARCC, which is the Readiness Test for College and Career, a new assessment that is being piloted. We are piloting it. We were one of the districts that chose to pilot the test. We would be held harmless with respect to our accountability level for next year. And the Board of Education is going to be voting on it this fall. And it really is an assessment that is more aligned with the Common Core standards. They're more rigorous. They engage students to engage in higher order thinking skills. I think the math is more difficult. But what was interesting is, as I'm hearing from our students and administrators who the test being administered as a pilot last week, they actually found the test to be a little bit easier, which was interesting to me, which I was somewhat concerned about. But once again, our results now will not be made known to us until probably December of next year, because this is a pilot and they're having to aggregate the data. And they had let schools know in advance that they wouldn't be getting their results back. But it's what the commissioner has committed to is, and certainly the new governor, that there will be hearings all across the state in the next several months regarding parents, teachers, administrators, students coming forward and talking about this pilot test and whether it really is a new generation assessment for Massachusetts. So, the jury is still out on whether, it really is better than the MCAS. But the MCAS, I can tell you, even if they didn't vote to adopt PARCC, MCAS would no longer be in its current state. They would have to revise it.
Dr. Schakowsky says the only Barnstable students taking MCAS this year will be 10th graders. Passing that exam is still a graduation requirement. Cape Cod Community College wants to make it easier for students and parents to fill out the free application for federal student aid. The college will be hosting a FAFSA Help Day in 2 weeks. Cape Cod Community College Communications Director Michael Gross says it's very important that the form be filled out correctly.
To really provide individual instruction for people to fill out that financial aid application. We're talking millions of dollars. People don't think about this little school, but we hand out well over $4 million in financial aid every year. And that money comes directly from all the information set up on this form. And so if people will mark it on their calendars, 12 noon to 4 p.m., April the 12th, in Sunday in our LaRusso, please come. The other thing is, please put together all of the material you would need to do your taxes. You're going to need some of those forms and some of the numbers that are there. This is a perfect time to think about it. We're coming right up to the 15th of April. People really should have filed their taxes by now or have those numbers with them. So please bring that paperwork with you and come. All the help is free. It is individualized. You literally will be able to sit down and start filling that application out online with someone helping you over your shoulder to make sure you do get it right. Our financial aid people are just focused on helping families get the money. It fits there. There's millions of dollars there, and our frustration is at the end of every academic year, there's money that was not handed out. People didn't apply, and yet it was sitting there. For all of those thoughts of, I can't possibly qualify, I make too much money, or I do this or that. The rules have changed dramatically over the past few years. So many more people qualify.
And that FAFSA Help session will be held Sunday, April 12th from noon to 4 in the LaRusso building. To learn more, you can visit capecod.edu. We'll be sure to tune into our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Police Chief Paul McDonald. We'll talk with State Senator Dan Wolf and DPW Director Dan Santos. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.